In the halls of video game history, one series of games was at first considered a flop. At first, but as time went on, became a cult classic in retro game history, and that series is Mother. So in this episode of Retrodocs, we're going to be going over the history and release of the first 3 games from that series. The ones that were released in Japan, and the one that was released in both Japan and in the US. The year is 1989, and in Japan a game was created for the Famicom system called Mother. In this game you play a boy called Entan, who was set out on a trip around the world to stop an evil race of aliens who are set to take over the minds of the planet. Nintendo wanted to release it in the US with the translation already having been done a year before, but it was deemed to never be profitable in the US considering at this time the Super Nintendo already had a game been released, and a game for it would never sell well considering it would be sold with a really thick manual for the game as well as a hint book, so it was deemed uneconomical to release in the US. However, on June 14th, 2014, Nintendo finally released a US version of the game called Earthbound Beginnings. But before that, a 1989 cartridge of the game was put up for auction and was bought, and soon the original code for the game was released all over the internet. The second game in the series, known in Japan as Mother 2, was the only one to be released in both Japan and the US, but here in the States it was called Earthbound. In this game you play a boy called Ness, who once again is set out to stop the same aliens from the first one, taking over the minds of the planet. Some notes on this one though. The setting of this game is in a town called Onet, where Ness witnesses a meteorite crashing down, and with his friend Pokey, set out to investigate and is joined along the way by a second girl named Paula, Jeff who is a genius, a mystic being, and martial arts artist expert named Pooh. As you and your friends go on your journey, you'll encounter enemies that are really people and objects that are out to get you. This is due to the alien who crashed with the meteorite called Gigas, who was the main boss in the first Mother game, which ties this game with the first one, as the working title in Japan for this game was called Gigas Strikes Back. However, the first European release of the game was in 2016 when it was released for the Wii U Virtual Console and in the US released for the Nintendo 3DS. Mother 3 was the long-awaited sequel to Earthbound and was going to be released for the Nintendo 64 disk drive. But due to the major issues during development, the release was cancelled because as the game was finally finished, it would have been dumb to release it towards the end of the N64's life cycle. However, it was picked up once again in 2006 for the Game Boy Advance and was marketed with Mother 1 and 2, and it kept the style that Earthbound had. However, the story changed in Mother 3. In this one you play as a kid named Lucas, who with his family on the Nowhere Island sets out with his friends as well to stop the Pig Mask Army, who are set out to change the island by introducing technology and conducting bizarre experiments on the plants and animals on the island. In 2008, 15 years after the Japan release of the game, a US version was released by Tomato on the internet. Although most of the original Japan release was not changed, a few minor changes were made to some of the names of the characters in the game. If you are fans of the Super Smash Bros. Series, there's characters from both Earthbound and Mother 3 in the game. In both Smash Bros. And Smash Bros. Brawl, Ness is an unlockable character. In Melee, you can use locations from Earthbound. In Brawl, Ness is joined by Lucas from Mother 3. In Smash Bros. 4 for the 3DS and Wii U, both Lucas and Ness show. However, Lucas has a DLC for the game. The final appearance is in Smash Bros. Ultimate. They appear in as well. The entire Mother series is one of those Nintendo cult classics, and a welcome change from games like Final Fantasy. I have to say that these games are ones that you should collect the carts or find a way to get hold of, since these games are a piece of Nintendo history as much as games like Super Mario Bros. And Legend of Zelda. As you and your friends go on your journey, you encounter enemies that are really people and objects that are out to get you. This is Really? Okay, enough. Who's a good Emma? Who's a good Emma? Who's a good Emma? Emma want treat? Emma want treat? Emma Rose! Emma Rose! Come on, Emma! Quiet. As you and your friends go on your journey, you'll encounter enemies that are really people and objects that are out to get you. This is due to the fact that aliens...
Really, dogs? Really?